What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Juice Box presented by Lock City. You got Wighty and Munz here today. Hope everyone's having a good week. We're actually nice and early on this one here. It's only the 22nd today, but we already have episode 82 of the Juice Box, which is going to be an outlook into next weekend's UFC Fight Night, with the main event being Erin Blanchfield and Maycee Barber. But before we get into it, just a reminder, of course, you can join our premium tier Discord at whop.com/lockcity. That's WHOP.com/lockcity for only $5 a month. This gets you access to every cheat sheet every day across all active major sports, access to premium picks from all 9 of our pro cappers, and tons of other sport-specific and stat-specific data points on a daily basis to help you become a better sports bettor. We've stayed hot in the Discord. Yesterday in my channel, we were up again for, I think, a 5th consecutive day. Either way, we're up 6.48 units through Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, or $648 if we're talking dollars. We got hooked last night on a nasty WNBA slip that should have paid $1,100. All of the player props hit except for Paige Beckers, who could not buy a rebound. But either way, we're still up, looking clean on the month. We're up 52.11 units, or $5,211 for you $100 bettors. We also swept our KBO Best Bets cheat sheet yesterday for our 14th sweep so far early on the season, and that brings us to 115, 52, and 3 overall for nearly a 70% clip rate. Our max play of the day is now 14 and 7, up $1,850 after cashing out on the Tigers team total yesterday. Our JuiceBox Lock is up 17.75 units, or $1,775 since we started the podcast, and it's improved to 28, 23, and 1 overall. We're also, just on a side note here, 7, 2, and 1 in our last 10 JuiceBox locks. So if you haven't been tailing them, now's the time to do so. And I'll wrap this up here by saying we do daily picks from our capper team every single day, all 9 of these guys. We have daily projections for all active major sports. And of course, we have our Lock City cheat sheets that we're running daily for a ton of different sports and prop markets. So you can get better results by paying only 16 cents a day. That's $5 a month at whop.com/lockcity, WHOP/lockcity. So for today, like I mentioned there, we're going to be talking about next weekend's UFC Fight Night. It's at the Apex in Las Vegas, Nevada, and the main event is going to be Erin Blanchfield and Maycee Barber. This card, to me, is one that I am not looking forward to whatsoever. But Munz, how are you feeling about this one?
Yeah, it's not the most, at face value, it's nothing crazy. But the more that I looked into it, the more interesting it got. There's a couple fights on here that should be pretty interesting and fun to watch that should make it a good event for everyone. So let's get right into it. I'm not sure which one of these fights is starting first, whether it's Ramiz versus Oban or Zachary, Reese versus Dusko, Todorovic. I see them different in a different number layout everywhere that I look. So anyway, we're just going to start off with Zachary Reese versus Dusko, Todorovic. Zachary Reese is coming into this one with a record of 8-2-0, being 2-2-0 in the UFC, 3-2 in his last 5, and is coming off a KO loss in his last. He has 7 wins by finish, 5 KO TKOs, and 2 by submission. Dusko Todorovic is coming into this one with a record of 12-5-0, being 3-5-0 in the UFC. He's 2-3 in his last 5 and is coming off 2 straight TKO losses. He has 11 wins by finish, 8 KO TKOs, and 3 by submission. Looking at the tail of the tape on this one, Reese holds both a significant height and reach advantage, while both of them are the same age at 31 years old. Both of these guys are coming off KO TKO losses in their last, and as everybody should know with me, I like to avoid a fighter when that's the case, but clearly it's unavoidable in this fight. Reese is the heavy favorite. I think one of the reasons why is not only the height and reach advantage, but because he had that 20-second finish over Julian Marquez back in 2024. Despite all that, though, I think we'll see Reese take it in this one. I believe he is a decently heavy favorite, but I just kind of see him as the more better fighter of the two with more recent wins in the UFC, and he's been more active as of late as well.
I agree with you 100%. I think for this clash of trash, I'm also going to lay down the minus 295 on Zach Reese here. I don't think either of these guys are very good at all, maybe inconsistent at best. But if we're comparing them straight up, I do agree with you. I think Zach Reese is slightly less shit. I do think this fight will be a little bit closer than the odds makers have it laid out to be, but I don't feel confident enough in Todorovic to lay down on him as an underdog. I think as long as Zachary doesn't end up on the ground or even worse on his back, where he probably has one of the lowest fight IQs in the UFC, I think if he keeps this standing, he definitely has the knockout power to finish the job. We don't have methods props out yet, at least that I've seen on any of the major books, but I think Reese by KO, TKO is probably your best methods bet. But in terms of money line, like Munz said, Zachary's money line minus 295.
All right, all right. Yeah, no methods out yet from what I'm seeing either, but let's move on here. Next up, we have Ramiz Brahimaj versus Oban Elliot. So Ramiz is coming into this one with a record of 11-5-0, being 3-2 in the UFC, also 3-2 in his last 5, coming off a KO win in his last fight as well. He has 11 wins by finish, his first KO TKO that just happened in his last fight, and 10 submissions. Oban Elliot is coming into this one with a record of 12-2-0, being 3-0 in the UFC since joining after winning Contender Series. He's 5-0 in his last 5 and is on a current 8-fight win streak. He has 6 wins by finish, 3 each by KO, TKO, and submission. If you look at the tail of the tape on this one, Oban holds a height advantage with both of them having the same exact reach, if my memory doesn't fail me. Oban is also 5 years younger than Ramiz. Oban is an extremely heavy favorite in this one, and I believe rightfully so. He's streaking on 8 fights right now. He's been dominating his opponents since joining the UFC with majority and 2 unanimous decisions, as well as the KO in his last. But that's not to say that Ramiz won't be easy. It's tougher to decide than what the odds say. What do you think?
I think I'm gonna go Oban Elliot here. The good old Welsh gangster. I don't know if this ends up if he can finish the job. I agree with you. I think it'll be closer than what the odds are. I'm leaning Oban Elliot decision on this one. When you look at the fight history of both of these guys, like neither of them are overly impressive. We have an age advantage on the side of Oban Elliot. In terms of like frequency of fights, Oban's fought 5 times in the last 2 years compared to Ramiz, who's fought twice in the last 2 years. So I like to give Oban a little bit of an edge there. The win over Mickey Gall for Ramiz is kind of impressive. That KO there. I don't think, like you said, I don't think it's warranted that he's a plus 360 underdog here, but I do think that Oban Elliot wins this fight. I'm just leaning decision more than a knockout.
Yeah, as of right now, I am on Oban as well. 8-fight win streak, coming off the KO in his last, and 5 years younger. There's just all reasons not to go against the guy. But I just think the odds are disgustingly off. Like minus 620 for him to win is just very ugly. So, as Whitey said, definitely wait for the methods to come out for this to take him by decision. We both don't think there's a way that he loses this fight, but getting the finish might be a bit unlikely. So yeah, Oban by decision is probably the best bet in that one. But for the sake of call the card, Oban minus 620 money line. All right, moving on, we have Dustin Jacoby versus Bruno Lopes. Dustin Jacoby's coming into this one with a record of 29-1, being 8-4-1 in the UFC, 2-3 in his last 5, coming off a win in his last as well. He has 14 wins by finish, 13 KO TKOs, and 1 by submission. Bruno Lopes is coming into this one with a record of 14-1-0, being 1-0-0 in the UFC, 4-1 in his last 5, and on a 3-fight win streak. He has 11 wins by finish, 6 KO TKOs, and 5 by submission. If you look at the tail of the tape for this one, Jacoby holds the reach and height advantage while also being 5 years younger than Bruno Lopes. One thing worth mentioning is it took 2 attempts for Bruno Lopes at Dana White's Contender Series to win and get a contract into the UFC, obviously happening on his second attempt. And he did win his first fight in the UFC by decision. So something that's worth noting right there. How do you feel, before I get into this more, how are you feeling about it?
I want to lean Dustin Jacoby for sure. The only question mark for me is if it goes to the ground. I don't think it's going to. I think even at age 37, he's going to have the takedown defense to stuff Bruno Lopes. I think Jacoby knows, obviously, he wants this fight standing. There's real danger if he winds up on the mat. Lopes has good grappling. He's got good ground and pound. But Dustin Jacoby, he's going to be more technical on the feet. He was once the number 2 ranked kickboxer in the world. He once kickboxed against the likes of like Alex Pereira. I think if he's able to keep from getting backed up by Bruno Lopes, if he's able to find some fluidity in his striking, if he's able to pick apart the legs of Lopes early on, he's going to be able to find power shots throughout this fight. The issue here is that Lopes likes to move forward. He usually only spends a couple of minutes being calm and collected and analyzing his opponent a little bit before his fights become wild. And you and I both know, we say it all the time, anything can happen when the boys start swinging in this sport with no regard for their lives. But I'm going to stick with Dustin Jacoby, 192. I feel really good about it. I'm going to wait it out, I think, a little bit closer to next week because this line opened at 235 and it seems to be getting shorter and shorter. So I don't want to snipe it at 192 and have it go 150 on me. But I really like Dustin Jacoby in this spot. And the closer he gets to even money, I like him even more.
Yeah, I'm also on Dustin Jacoby for this as well. Mainly for the reason that, A, you said he was number 2 kickboxer in the world. He's fought more well-known names and gotten wins against some of those more well-known names in the UFC. I think it's going to be a big test for Bruno Lopes in this. I think Dustin's going to show Bruno that there's levels to this promotion. I know I don't usually go against my rule of going against the Brazilians, especially one who's streaking, but I don't know. Even if the odds keep getting shorter and shorter with Bruno being less of an underdog, just something still doesn't sit right with me about him. I think Dustin's going to take this, give us a bit of a masterclass on this, and show why he's still a very fantastic fighter.
I agree. I'm going to sprinkle Jacoby knockout too when it's available.
That's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. 13 KO, TKO, so it's definitely worth it. All right, looking at the next fight, we have Billy Ray Goff, which my eyes deceive me. I thought it was Billy Ray Golf versus Seokhyeon Ko. So Billy Ray's coming into this one with a record of 9-3-1, being 1-1-0 in the UFC, 4-1 in his last 5, and he just ended a 7-fight win streak by taking a decision loss in his last. He has 7 wins by finish, all coming by KO TKO. Seokhyeon Ko is coming into this one with a record of 11-2-0, making his UFC debut after winning Contender Series. He is 4-1 in his last 5 on a 4-fight win streak, and he has 6 finishes, all coming by KO TKO as well. So this will be an interesting one. If we look at the tail of the tape, height is exactly the same. Billy Ray holding a slight reach advantage, and the books have this one decently close. Billy Ray is the favorite at -156, and Seokhyeon at +122 underdog. In my opinion, we have 2 absolute KO TKO artists here. Both of these fighters' finishes all coming from KO TKOs, so it's going to be interesting. I don't know if they're going to try and test each other to go the distance. I don't know if they're going to start swinging, looking for KOs. But I can tell you this. This is my first underdog of the night. I'm sitting with Seokhyeon Ko in this one.
Interesting. To be honest with you, I've never even heard of Seokhyeon Ko in my life. I just saw he calls himself the Korean Tyson, and he won a unanimous decision like 8 months ago on the Contender Series, which I obviously must not have seen. And now it looks like he's getting his debut. So when I gave him the benefit of the doubt, obviously I looked up a couple of videos. It looks like he throws a lot of haymakers. He's got obviously a karate-based striking style. Beyond that, I don't think he's the fastest guy in the world, but I don't know if he can outwork Billy Ray Goff or if Billy Ray Goff's going to outwork him. I think Billy Ray's obviously, so he's knocked out 4 of the last guys he's faced before losing a tough decision. Like you said, both knockout artists. I kind of expect him to get a KO here, but in my honest opinion, I think it's just biased to not knowing that much against Seokhyeon Ko on my side of things. So for that reason, I'm going to lean Billy Ray, but happy to be proven wrong on this one. Love when up-and-comers come in and prove a lot of people wrong. So if Seokhyeon Ko is one of those guys, he's one of those guys, and I'm happy to see it. But I'm going to go Billy Ray Goff for the time being, just because it's more comfortable for me at -156 on the money line.
I mean, it's a close fight. It's a really close fight. I don't usually like taking guys who are making their UFC debut, but I think he's going to show us something special. Either one of these guys can get a KO on each other. So it really can go either way. They've both been knocked out before in the past, so it's possible. It's possible that we don't even see this going to decision. But I personally think if we do see it go to decision, that Seokhyeon should be able to do enough to win it there. I don't think he even has a loss in decision of his 2 losses.
I don't
No.
believe so.
Yeah, he doesn't. So
No.
anyway, yeah, I'm taking Seokhyeon, Wighty on Billy Ray. Let's move on to the co-main event. We got one of my favorites in Mateusz Gamrot versus Ludovit Klein. So Mateusz is coming into this one with a record of 24-3-0, 1-0 contest, being 7-2-0 in the UFC. 3-2 in his last 5, coming into this one off a decision loss to Dan Hooker, split decision loss that was. He has 13 wins by finish, 8 KO, TKOs, and 5 by submission. Klein is coming into this one with a record of 23-4-1, being 7-2-1 in the UFC, 4-0-1 in his last 5, and is on a current 4-fight win streak, which you could argue he would be on a 6-fight win streak if there wasn't the draw in there separating them, but it is what it is. He has 17 wins by finish, 9 KO, TKOs, and 8 submissions. If you look at the tail of the tape, Gamrot holds a slight height advantage, Klein holding a decent reach advantage while also being 4 years younger than Gamrot. This is extremely straightforward for me. Can't go against my boy here. I'm sitting at Gamrot. They shockingly have him as a favorite. I kind of would have expected Klein to be a bit more of a favorite in this one, but the odds are still pretty decently close. Klein is a plus 138 underdog, Gamrot at minus 178, but straight to the point, no explanation needed with Gamrot on this.
I'm also gonna go Gamrot on this one. You and I both love this guy. We've had a couple of heartbreaks with him. That Dan Hooker fight, I know we were both on him for call the card. That sucked when he lost the decision. That was our only loss on that card. And then I remember just prior to us even starting Lock City, we both had him on when he lost to Beneil Dariush there at the end of 2022. I think when we were putting plays out on Twitter. But I agree with you here. I got to go Mateusz again on this one. I think this is going to be an incredible fight. Ultimately, I think it's going to come down to whether or not Gamrot has any success in taking Ludovit Klein down. Both of these guys have excellent takedown defense, both above 90%, which leads me to believe that it's going to be mostly standing. Klein is one of the smaller lightweights on the roster. I wouldn't say he's smallest, but he's definitely like bottom 3 probably. And having a hard time overlooking the fact he should probably fight at featherweight. He's only 5'7". I think the way this fight probably plays out is that Gamrot's going to be able to outmuscle him. We'll see Ludovit on his back foot for the majority of the time. And Gamrot's got a much stronger base. I think he's going to be able to overcome Ludovit's takedown defense. Whereas on the other side, I think Gamrot might be able to have a little bit more success there. He's going to gain back weight after the weigh-in's better. He's going to have more leverage. He's going to have more weight behind him on top of already being the better wrestler. So this is an easy Gamrot lean for me, since Gamrot's probably, again, one of the best wrestlers in this entire division. It's a little bit tough because it's at the apex, and I don't think they respect wrestling or takedowns to the same effect that non-Nevada judges do. So for that reason, if Gamrot's unable to get a lot of control time, it could get a little bit tricky, but I don't see that being the case at all. He's going to have the weight advantage. He's got the height advantage. He's the better wrestler overall. I'm going Mateusz Gamrot money line easy at minus 178.
Mateusz the Gamer. There we go. We're both on it. You know it's a lock.
That's a good one.
All right, time for the main event. Bit of a snooze fest in my opinion, but we'll see. We got Erin Blanchfield versus Maycee Barber. Erin Blanchfield's coming into this one with a record of 13-2-0, being 7-1-0 in the UFC, 4-1 in her last 5, coming off a win in her last. She was streaking before her loss to Manon. She was on a 6-fight win streak, but then she just recently got that win against Rose. She has 6 wins by finish, 2 KO, TKOs, and 4 by submission. Maycee Barber's coming into this one with a record of 14-2-0, being 9-2-0 in the UFC, 5-0 in her last 5, and is on a current 6-fight win streak. She has 8 wins by finish, 6 KO, TKOs, and 2 by submission. If we look at the tail of the tape, Erin holds a slight reach advantage. Maycee has the slight height advantage. The books have Erin as a pretty heavy favorite at minus 230 and Maycee at plus 176, I believe it was. I personally think it's going to be closer than that, but one thing that we can all agree on for sure is that this fight is most likely going the distance, even though they do both have the ability to finish their opponents. I personally also have a weird feeling about Maycee Barber in this one. How about you?
On this one, I'm actually feeling the opposite. I agree with you. I think it's going to be really close. but I'm actually leaning Blanchfield on this one. When this card got released, I can't even tell you how many times I rolled my eyes at this fight, but I really respect it now. You have to respect the fact that the UFC has given us a 4 versus 5 matchup that actually matters in the division. I think this
That's
will be a
fair.
really interesting fight. Both of these ladies, obviously really talented, very well rounded. If I had to guess, I think Barber's going to consider striking to be her advantage here, probably try to get a little bit busier on the feet, whereas Blanchfield's going to probably look to do the opposite. I think I've got to give the edge here to Blanchfield. Both women are durable, but I like Blanchfield's ability to keep pressure even after she gets touched up, even after she gets hit. She's always willing to get back in there, whether it's throwing strikes or shoot for takedowns and maybe even get a sneaky inside the distance win here. I doubt it. Like you said, I think going decision, but ultimately I'm going to lean Erin Blanchfield. I don't like the odds overly at minus 180, but I'll probably just target a decision for method of victory once lines are out and play like a Blanchfield decision on this one.
Interesting. Very interesting. I don't know. I think Maycee can do it. Like I said, they're both capable of finishing their opponents or winning it on the scorecards. We're in for an interesting one for sure. But for some reason, I think Maycee is going to come out on top. She kind of seems to me to be a bit of a better striker. They'll probably look to keep it on the feet as much as possible. I mean, I know Erin has those 4 submissions, so she might be looking to bring it down to the ground a bit, but it just depends on Maycee's ability to stuff those takedowns or control the ground if they get taken down. But I don't know. Something just sits very off with me about Erin Blanchfield. I mean, you got Maycee. She's on a 6-fight win streak. She's hot. She's feeling herself. Give me the other underdog here, plus 176. I'm taking 2 underdogs on this main card.
That's fair. Look at that win streak though. It's like Amanda Rebus is good, but Andrea Lee, Jessica I, Montana De La Rosa, and then Caitlin Chikugian, whatever her last name was, she got remarried, so now she's Sermanara. So
Yeah.
that was a good one. But I don't know. She beat Rose. She did lose to Manol, but she beat Talia Santos. She beat Jessica Andrade. She beat Molly McCann. She got some good wins under her belt.
100%. Like you said, it's a fight that matters. You got a 4 and a 5, and it honestly, despite what the
Yep.
odds say, it can truly go either way. It's truly closer than what the odds are displaying. So I don't know, man. I don't know. These fight nights are weird. I think we're just gonna see Maycee kind of shake up the division a little bit and sneak a win in there.
This will be a good one, like you said. I think this will be a fun one. It might even be just a sit back and watch one for me. I would hate to leave this one to the last leg on my parlay. I'd much rather cash on Mateusz and just be done with the night and enjoy.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm thinking as well. But I'm probably still gonna ride Maycee just for the odds.
Yeah, for call the card for sure. I'll run both call the cards.
All right, let's take a look at the JuiceBox Lock. So we had a bit of a discussion before we started recording this. We do have it a bit pre-planned here. We're looking at both money line, right?
Yep, both money line.
Dustin Jacoby at the current minus 192, which I'll remind everyone what Whitey said. Might want to wait off a little bit on locking this because the odds could shorten even more. And Mateusz Gamrot. I don't think those odds are gonna. They might get a little bit closer, but I don't think they will. I think Gamrot will sit at minus 178, maybe drop down to 165 ish, closer to fight night. But Mateusz Gamrot money line, Dustin Jacoby money line. What do those put together right now? Let me
Plus 137.
plus 137, so not too bad. So 2.37 times.
Yep, that's a very safe bankroll builder.
I like that. I like that a lot. All right. Anything else you want to add on here?
I don't think so. Like we said at the beginning, this one here, even though we're dropping the pod today on the 22nd, this fight night's not until the 31st, so you got a lot of time to get your research in, listen to the pod, get your picks in. And I think those two that we called out for the JuiceBox Lock, really solid. Mateusz Gamrot money line, Dustin Jacoby money line comes together to plus 137 on FanDuel. And again, for those of you not in the premium tier, you know where to go. WHOP.com/LockCity. That's WHOP.com/LockCity. Only $5. You get picks from 9 cappers. You get daily cheat sheets, daily projections for all major active sports. Sorry. It's the place to be. WHOP.com/LockCity.
That's it from us, guys. Take care. Good luck with your bets, and we'll see you in the next one.